All right, what's going on, my addiction recovery warriors, my sobriety squad, my sober, curious friends out there? Welcome back to the Sober Web. I am Clark, if you don't already know me. I've made this video today because it's a really important topic. Relapse prevention. How do we prevent going back to things that we know are not good for us? And I want to give you guys some tips, some mentalities to be aware of that might threaten our sobriety. If you can't watch this entire video or you don't want to, I hope that at least you'll skip to the third one. The chapters are in the description below because the third one is one of the most insidious ones that you have to be aware of. Before we get into anything, if you are sober, I want to celebrate and support you. So smash that like button. And if you have the courage to do so, leave your sober date in the comments. But before I lose your attention, before you swipe away, let's get into those tips for preventing relapses when getting sober. All right, and the first one is a really important one, okay? And this is just to be aware of being disappointed. Sobriety is all that it's cracked up to be, but at first it's not. And I know that's a contradiction, but the reality is sobriety can be really disappointing. You know, people make it out to be so amazing, and it really, really is. Once you get past all of like the kind of rough patches and everything like that, sobriety has so much to offer. All right, but at first it can be really, really tough. You know, you've got to deal with the emotions. You've got to face all the feelings. You don't get to run back and hide in the crutch anymore. And honestly, there's still a lot of anxiety and depression at first because sometimes in life things have to get worse before they get better. That can be just really disappointing because no one talks about this stuff. Honestly, I think that is one reason why people end up going back to alcohol or the addiction, because it's so disappointing. They're just like, well, what the hell? Like, it's a lot more fun and things are much easier in the addiction, even though we know that it's not. But if you give it a chance, if you can push through all those disappointing moments, eventually you will find that sobriety is not disappointing. Life is what's disappointing at times. Life is up and down. That's the hard part. But the reality is in sobriety, we get to face life on life's terms, and we get to deal with the highs and lows, and we get to deal with the disappointments, but also the most not disappointing moments in the world. I was looking for a better word there. It didn't happen. There are so many amazing things that we get to experience if we just push through all the disappointment, because that's part of life. Life can be disappointing, and we can run to alcohol or something like that to get away from it, but it's not going to go anywhere. So just face the disappointment. Be aware that it might feel disappointing, but it's not really disappointing in the long run. All right, now tip number 2 is that you've got to be aware of this mentality of sabotage, all right? There's some part of us inside that's a bit of a saboteur in our sobriety, whether it's just this belief that we aren't good enough or that we're not worthy, that we don't deserve sobriety and all that it has to offer. For some reason, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, it doesn't actually really even matter the amount of time you've been sober. There's maybe part of us that believes that we just don't deserve to be happy, all right? We maybe feel that we deserve to be miserable, or that we don't want to face the pain and the emotion and the feelings that comes with sobriety. And so we sabotage our sobriety because it seems the easier option than to do the work that's necessary to be free of all the stuff that makes us sabotage in the first place. I just want you to be honest with yourself that maybe part of a reason a relapse happens is because you don't believe that you're worthy, or that you're lovable, or that you deserve to be happy, or that you're ever going to find what you're looking for. But I promise you, my friends, you're never going to find it in alcohol or in the addiction. And I know that sabotaging it, whether you know that you're doing it or not, or whether anyone knows that they're doing it or not, the sabotage is just keeping reality at bay for another day or so. I know that sobriety is hard, and I know that it feels easier just to run back to what feels safe. But if you can just keep going past the 30 days, past the 60 days, past the 90 days, I promise you, there will become a turning point where you will no longer feel the need to sabotage because you'll start to see the benefits. Here's a tip within a tip. I want you to make a video of yourself talking to your future self, or just write a little story to yourself and put it on your mirror, or have the video at hand. That way, when you feel like you want to sabotage your life and you want to drink or you want to use, I want you to play the video or read the letter that you've written to yourself, telling yourself not to do it. And I want you to remind yourself why you chose to get sober in the first place. That motivating factor for your sobriety is one of the most powerful things, and I know that we forget it eventually. But if you can just remind yourself with a video or a letter, and I know it sounds cheesy, but these tactile things that we can provide for ourselves in sobriety can really help make or break that moment where we might fall back into old ways and we might let that lapse in judgment become a relapse. But just a little tip within a tip, an extra something just to give you a security blanket that when you're at that point, you can say, no, you know what? I'm not going to relapse because I'm not going to allow myself to forget why I'm doing this in the first place. All right, and finally, tip number 3 for relapse prevention. When you are getting sober, do not get cocky. All right, and what I mean by that is you've got to be aware of the ego. The ego is not your friend. There might come a point where you have this little trick of the mind, a little slip of the mind, where you're like, I've gone a few days or a week or 2 weeks, a month, 3 months. I've got control of this. I can do this. I think maybe actually I don't have a problem. And so I'm going to just give it a go and see what happens. That is the ego making you believe that you have control. You all should read the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. The link is in the description below. But he says that addiction is the ego's substitute for true inner peace. And I want you to think about that. So we are on a path to finding some type of peace. Maybe it's not true inner peace yet, but sobriety is a step in that direction. And we get to the point where we feel confident that maybe we start toying around this idea that we can maybe try it again, or we can try 1 drink this time, or maybe 2 this time. But ultimately what that is that is the ego, the little devil on your shoulder, if you will, that is making you believe you have control. All right, so you've got to really be aware of the ego's role in all of this. And I think that's why so many people relapse, is because they believe that they can handle it. And part of this is that perhaps you just not fully surrender to the fact that alcohol is no good for you, or that the addiction is no good for you. It kind of goes back to, honestly, the whole part number 2, the tip about sabotaging our life, that we don't think that we deserve it, or that we're afraid to actually do the work because of whatever the reasons might be at that time. But in short, my friends, you are worthy, you are lovable, you deserve everything that sobriety can give you, even if it's really, really hard and painful at first. So just to reiterate, again, be aware of the ego, all right? It's that little voice that tells you you think you can maybe try it, or that you can give it a go, that you have control this time. Do not give into that voice. Fight that voice. Go back to that tip within a tip, a video of you now talking to your future self that may or may not relapse, or a letter that you keep in the car or in the bathroom or somewhere where you can read it on a daily basis, or when you're feeling really depressed, that reminds you of why you are getting sober. So there you go, my friends. 3 tips for relapse prevention when getting sober. I hope that they were helpful. I hope that you found this video valuable. If so, please hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. Let's have a conversation about it, because I love chatting with my community. And I also really, really appreciate if you guys leave some ideas in the comments, things that you want to discuss, because that's how this video came about, directly from a community member who wanted to discuss how to stay away from relapsing. So please leave those comments. Let me know your sober dates. And I really appreciate your support, especially if you would consider subscribing, because I just want to grow this channel and reach as many people as I possibly can. I can't do it without you, without your likes, without your subscribes. So smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, say hi, and I can't wait to make more videos for you guys. I will not stop doing it. All right? Much love, much life. I'm Clark from the Sober Web. Over and out. Bye.